If you were no longer affected by the judgment of others and you stopped judging yourself, would you make different choices? Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here's the host of Inspired Choices Radio Show, Possibilities Coach, Christine McIver.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am your host for tonight's show, Christine McIver, and I am the host of the Inspired Choices Radio Show. So I'm so happy to have you here, whether you're joining us live or you're listening to this as a podcast or replay, wherever. I'm truly grateful. It's always so much fun when I begin to do a show. Oftentimes, I'm not really sure 100% of what's going to actually be created during the show. But what I do know is that the show asks me to do these shows, and your contribution, whether live or in the replay, contributes to creating it. So it's really so much fun. And my producer tonight is my dear friend, Carol Glover. And Carol just said, remember when we first started doing this together? Good times. So true. Carol and I have been doing this together since January of 2014. So, Carol, we need to celebrate how long we've been doing this together, right? It is nuts how long it's been. And wow, we've had so many amazing creations and so many wonderful people that we've had on the network, and wonderful guests and phenomenal fans and listeners who come to play. And Carol says, and I still like you. Well, thank goodness for that. Oh my gosh. Now I'm just going to be hysterically laughing. She does that to me all the time. I'm telling you, my friends, that is one of the things we're going to talk about tonight in valuing you. So tonight's show is, are you willing to receive you, truly receive you, and value you? So before we get into the show, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. As you know, I'm a radio show host. I'm also a producer. I produce many of the shows that are on this network. I'm actually the creator of this network, something that we actually launched it nearly 9 months ago. So we're just about through our birthing pains, and it's been phenomenal. And another thing that I do is I'm actually a business coach, a personal coach. I call myself a possibilities coach because I really do believe in possibilities, and I really do know that people can create their life. They can create their businesses. They can create their relationships with all the possibilities that are available in the universe. And to be a part of that with people is one of the greatest gifts that I get to receive. And, when you are truly being you and you show up in your life and you show up with all that you desire and you really are being what it is you know is true for you, you begin to receive you even more. And that's something that, this show was really speaking to me, because this is something that I, too, have been looking at for myself as I continue to choose forward, and I'm curious at what else is asking for me to show up with. So some of the programs that I actually have out in the world, I'd like to tell you a little bit about. The first one is called The Pleasure of Business. And The Pleasure of Business is a course. It's a 24-week course where you can come and join us for the whole program, or you can actually choose which weeks speak to you and to your business. And so we actually call it The Pleasure of Business a la carte. So if you're someone who is looking to begin a business, or you're well into your business, you've had your business around for a long time, and you feel like something's missing, or things just aren't tweaking, or maybe you're just behind on the social media platforms or the new the new tools that are out there that could be contributing to your business, I would love to have you join us. It is really available for anyone that is in their own business. And, sometimes it can get really lonely, especially if we're a soulpreneur and we're working out of our homes. When we come together in these classes, we really get to interact and see where other people operate, and we get a glimpse into other possibilities with what they are doing. And we have so much fun, and I love, love, love doing these classes. It's actually one of my most favorite things I've ever done. So one of the other programs that I have is called Divorce with Dignity. And divorce to me can be a divorce from a lover, a marriage partner, can be from a family member, can be from a friend, can be from an employer. It can be from a child. It can be from a parent. We all end relationships, but we haven't really been given the tools on how to end those relationships with true dignity and honor for everyone involved. Most of us have to make somebody else wrong and separate from them before they can actually conclude a relationship. Well, I'm here to ask you, what else would you like to create in changing the ending of a relationship? Maybe the relationship is done, but you still have a lot of residual energy left over. Connect with me to learn about that. I, of course, do one-on-one coaching as well, and I do the classes of Access Consciousness, the BARS classes, and the foundation class. So the next BARS class is going to be a huge party as well. It's called a Barzapalooza. And we're having, during the day from 9:30 to 5:30, we're having a fabulous BARS class. And then starting at 6 o'clock, we're having a party. We're having a pool party, barbecue, a share. We're getting together and we're having fun. And I would love for you to join us. So you can get all of this is in this replay. You can connect with me, or you just email me, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca, and I'd love to share that with you. And finally, the foundation class. I actually have a foundation class starting tomorrow, August the 17th, and then I have another one coming up in September. I would love for you to come and play and learn all about those amazing classes that, they really changed a great deal for me. So I did go on and on a little bit tonight. I apologize, but on to the show. So tonight's show is, are you willing to receive you? What have you decided receiving is? Is it from others? Is it only material items? Are you refusing receiving from you? Are you willing to receive you? So, tonight, when we're talking about really receiving you, a lot of the energy that comes up around this topic is judgment. A lot of us who are aware that we are not receiving from us is we immediately step into the space of where we judge ourselves, where we're judging ourselves, where we are cutting off and excluding ourselves, and we begin to judge ourselves for judging ourselves, or we justify why judging ourselves is correct. Has anyone done that yourself? Oh my God. Okay. If that is true for you, if you have found yourself in that space, would you be willing to let that go? Would you be willing to receive a different possibility? So let me ask you, what is receiving to you? When I say that to you, what do you get with receiving? Do you imagine something physical? For most of us, it is physical. It's receiving a gift. It's receiving maybe a financial, package or a financial contribution. So Carol in the chat room said appreciating. So for her, that's what receiving is appreciating. How many of you actually had someone compliment you or show their appreciation towards you, and you don't actually receive that. Right? Oh, that's a little heavy. Okay, cool. So, if you've ever done that, if you've ever tried to push that away, please let that be an example, a real taste of where you're not willing to receive from you. You see, when we're actually pushing away receiving from someone else, somewhere in our reality, we've decided and concluded that we're not worthy of that. We're not worthy of receiving that from someone else. That is a huge, huge sign that we're not willing to receive who we are truly. When someone looks at you, they look you in the eyes and they say, I appreciate you. Do you get all flustered? Do you turn away and go, oh my God, and are you able to actually hold their gaze and drop your barriers, really truly drop your barriers and receive what they are saying? You see, you have to be willing to receive this about you, from you, in order to be able to receive it from other people. There's an old saying that you have to love yourself first before someone can love you. Well, the same applies to this receiving. You have to be willing to receive you before you can really receive from others. And Faith in the chat room said, yes, receiving mostly physical. Right, exactly. Faith says, I'm good with compliments if I know it's considered receiving. Oh, wow. Okay, Faith, that's really cool. So how much are you actually tricking yourself into receiving, all the while knowing that's not really receiving? Wow. So what is it? What does it actually give you if you're buying that you're receiving it from others, but you're actually refusing receiving from you? When you're there, when you're in that space of receiving from other people, yeah, I'll receive from them, I'll receive from them, I'll receive from them. Can you get the energy of that? You make them the source for receiving. And when you make somebody else the source of anything, they can never fill you up. They can never give enough to you in order for you to feel satisfied. So if you buy that you have to receive from somebody else first before you can start receiving you, you're never going to get there, because you cannot receive enough in order for you to begin to receive you. Woo! Where is this going, right? Oh my God. So we're going to go to our first break. But before we go to our first break, I want to ask you this question, and I would love for you to call in. If you have any questions, I would love to contribute to you live on the air. You can use a fake name if you would like. Or please jump over into the chat room, inspiredchoices.com. Click on the menu, chat room, and come on in and ask your questions in there. But this is my question to you. Are you willing to receive you? Wow. There is a lot of energy on that. How many of us have already decided that we're not willing? So we're going to go to our first break. When we get back, we're going to dive into this. I would love to hear your comments in the chat room, or as I said, give us a call. When we get back, I wonder where else we're going to go with this, where else we're going to dance with this. So you are listening to the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network. And tonight, are you willing to receive you truly. Stick around, everyone. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business? Or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details or join the Facebook page Pleasure of Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736 or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight. We have a really interesting topic. Are you willing to receive you truly? A lot of people will jump over that and they'll be like, yeah, I receive from me. Yeah. And yet, have you ever stood at a mirror and looked yourself in the eyes? How long were you able to look yourself in the eyes for? Have you ever looked yourself in the eyes and said, I love you. I see you. I'm so glad I'm here with you. Have you ever been willing to drop your barriers and be that vulnerable? To really be present with yourself? And not try to distract yourself with, oh, that's crazy, that's silly, I don't need to do that. Yeah, I want to tell you about a program that a dear friend and a fellow colleague here on the network is doing. Rhonda Burns is doing a call all about barriers and dropping barriers. And I don't have the title of that right at the moment, but I'm going to get that for you. And we will. I'll share that with you a little bit later in the show. But if you really are desiring to receive more of you, that course, that class that she's going to be doing will be a huge contribution to receiving more of you. Because we put barriers up not just to other people, but we put the barriers up to ourselves. And when you can't find who you truly be, how can you step into really receiving you? It's not possible to really step into that space. So the barriers are one of the very first things that you've got to be willing to drop. You've got to be willing to push them all away. You've got to be willing to get to the space of you. So we have someone in the chat room says, I started thinking about giving so others can receive and see that most of my giving comes from a very superior place. I have more than you, so I can give, which she recognizes is nuts. She also says, I can look myself in the eyes so long as I avoid looking at my body. That's where all the judgments come in. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that awareness. So many of us can only receive bits and parts of us. If you're not willing to truly receive all of you, how can you be with you? How many barriers do you have up when you are only able to receive parts of you, bits of you? You know, when you can get to that space of the good, the bad, the ugly, the gooey, the yummy, the crazy, you can be with anything of you. You can receive everything of you. And when you're in that space of truly receiving all of you, anything that's not working for you, you then have the capacity or the access to change it. You then have access to it to create something different. You don't have to judge you in order to choose something different, but most of us, that's the space we're in. We're in this huge space of judgment, and because we're so in judgment, we can't receive us. And when we are judging ourselves and not able to receive us, we can't get to that space of change that we are constantly saying we desire to change. So everything that is, everything that's bringing up, every place and space where you want to run and hide right now, or you want to cry, or you just want to tell me to go pound salt, would you be willing to let that go? Would you be willing to stay here with me? Stay present with me and drop your barriers one more time. Thank you. Do you know that if you, wow, the energy, the tears are wanting to come out right now. Do you know that if you desire deeply to change the world that we live in, if you desire deeply to create a world that we can have so much joy, so much pleasure, so much amazingness, you've got to start with you. You've got to be able to look at what is not working for you. You've got to be willing to change this. Please, would you be willing to receive all of you and be in allowance of every piece of you, every choice you've ever made? Would you be willing to receive all of that in order to be in a different energy, in a different space to create more? You see, the judgments that we have in the world create more judgments. The judgments that you have of your body, the judgments that you have of, your money situation, the judgments you have of your business, the judgments that you have of your relationships, the judgments you have of the way you speak, the judgments you have of the way you show up in any way. That creates more and more judgments. We have this continuous creation going on of energy. The energy you be keeps putting more of that out into the world. So when you are judging you, you're adding to that. And of course, that's not your target. Of course, that's not your intention. And I'm not saying all of this to make you bad or wrong. I want to show you that when you're willing to really get present with you and receive all of you, you can then step into greater possibilities. So Carol says, I've just confused myself. Is receiving myself acknowledging things that others say about me, or is it something more? What does it look like? Well, most of us, Carol, and thank you for that question, most of us, it begins with other people. It begins with acknowledging, yeah, you know what, that is true about me, that we get from someone else. And that's a great beginning, is acknowledging, you know what, that's true about me. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And it begins there, and it's more. It's more and more and more. It's when you're willing to look at the choices that you have made, and you're willing to acknowledge the creation of that. So let me give you an example. In my life, if you know me, you know that I'm single. I was married. I was married twice, and both marriages weren't great. They didn't end well, hence the divorce with dignity. I know what's required. The second divorce was much more volatile. It was much more, oh my God, it impacted me and my body and my life. It impacted people around me. It impacted my children. It was so huge. And it was not fun. It was not nice. And probably for at least 10 years after that, I physically left that marriage, I blamed my ex-husband for all of it. I blamed him 100%. I was madder than a pig in shit. I'll tell you, I was walking around like my dad used to say about a family member that they had the chip on their shoulder. Well, I'll tell you, I had a boulder on mine. It wasn't a chip. It was huge. And with having that on my shoulder, it was weighing me down. And one day I just was like, I'm so tired of hearing this myself. But I couldn't seem to get out of the anger of it. I couldn't seem to have this just be, hey, I was driving down the street one day. You know, the energy of that. And what I came to realize was that I had to be willing to acknowledge that I created that just as much as he had. I had to get to that space, and it was not easy to get there. When you're that angry, it's not easy to get to that space. But I was willing to do what was required to change it, because it was creating a lot of crazy in my reality. So I continued to work with it, and I continued to acknowledge. Step by step, I acknowledged that I created that entire relationship. I made choices. I chose to stay in that marriage. I chose to do all of the things that I did that created it. I chose to allow myself to be manipulated. I chose to allow myself to stay angry. I chose this over and over and over again. I acknowledged that. Then I stepped into being in allowance of what I chose. And I forgave myself. I totally was willing to be vulnerable with myself and let myself know that, okay, that's what you chose. It's okay. It's all right. You chose it. Because when you're not willing to actually acknowledge what you created, and you're not willing to receive all of that about you, you cannot change it. When I was willing and able to get to that space, here's the sweet part. I was then able to receive the fact that I was a creator of magnitude and I could create something different if I chose it. But you guys see, I couldn't get there. I couldn't create relationship with men in a different way until I was willing to receive all of me. And it didn't come from somebody else. It had to come from me. It had to be my choice. It had to be my acknowledgement of all of me so that I could really be vulnerable and change what truly I desired to change. It's in that intimate moment with you when you're really willing to receive you, when you're really willing to go, you know what? I am so good at this. I create things that other people don't create, not in the way I do. When you're willing to get there, oh my gosh, change can happen fast. So we are at the second break time. I really want to dive in deeper, but I do want to take this second break. You're going to hear a fabulous commercial about an event that I'm actually co-hosting here in the Toronto, Oakville, Ontario area. And so we're going to take the quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive deeper into this. And I would love to have more of your comments and your questions in the chat room, or feel free to call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or if you're listening in the replay, send me an email, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. I would love to hear from you with your questions. Okay, you're listening to the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be back right after this commercial break.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How long have you been waiting to uncloak your magic? To allow the magic within you to rise and catalyze into an extraordinary life deep down you know is possible. Live Your Magic is a 2.5-day experience that will move you beyond your mind, ignite your body, and activate the magic that is you. If you are ready to radically tap into your desires, generate more aliveness in your body and your life, then join us at a Live Your Magic event somewhere in the world. Go to megansolito.com and click on events to learn more today. That's MEGANSILLITO.
This is Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Woohoo! Tonight's show, I'm telling you, it's going into yummy places. I love it. Tonight's show is, Are You Willing to Receive You Truly? Now, before I jump back in, I promised you I would get you the information about that barriers class that Rhonda Burns is doing. It's going to be phenomenal. It's called 21 Days of Bewitching Barriers into Oblivion. Rhonda likes to do tongue twisters, apparently. And it is going to be, it begins, okay, wait a minute, hold on. It begins on September the 1st, 2017 for 21 days, so it'll go till September the 22nd, and it is there is an early bird price of $125, and you need to sign up before August the 25th, so you have 9 days. So I would be doing that immediately, and after that the price goes up to $150. The link will be in this replay, so definitely go and check that out, and you will you will not be sorry you did, because getting rid of barriers, and I've been doing this work with Rhonda. She is one of my best friends. I just love her to bits, and she is brilliant at this. She has been a huge contribution to me and really stepping into changing this, and I can't wait for the series. I'll be there. I hope you will be too. So let's get back to tonight's show. Are you willing to receive you truly? Someone in the chat room has said, wow, I can totally see where I haven't been willing to take some responsibility with my choices and what they created. I wonder what this might change. Awesome. Thank you so much for that comment. And I want to just, one word just jumped out at me there, and the word was responsibility. Now, this may not be true for the person who's typed this in the chat room, but it might be true for other people. Oftentimes when we say we have to take responsibility, judgment is underneath that word. There's a lot of judgment underneath that word responsibility. What I would love to invite you into is changing that to where I haven't been willing to acknowledge my choices and what I created. Because in acknowledgement, you don't have to go into the heavy energy of judgment. And she just says she hates the word responsibility. Yeah. So how aware are you that is a very heavy judgmental word? Cool. Someone's asking, yes, is Rhonda's class a teleclass? It most certainly is a teleclass. So please come and play with us. Yes, she said. So this other person is saying, you have to be bad. I am holding you responsible. Yeah. So would you be willing to let go of being responsible and acknowledge you? Would you be willing to acknowledge all the choices that you've ever made and acknowledging you into receiving more of you? Would you be willing to talk to yourself? Would you be willing to talk to your body? Would you be willing to maybe have a friend, a very close support person, talk to you, talk with you about where you're not willing to receive you? I really want you guys to get, when you're willing to get intimate, when you're really willing to get vulnerable with looking at the places and spaces where you're not willing to receive you, it can change so damn fast. It'll make your head spin. You'll be like, really? I've been holding on to all of this for this long. For what reason? You know, there was something in my reality that was not working for me. And I reached out to an amazing coach and worked with her today. And in less than an hour, we changed so much in my reality of places and spaces where I wasn't willing to receive me, where I was creating some massive stop in my life. And it was uncomfortable. I cried like a baby. I cried really, really hard. I could barely breathe. I was crying so hard. And when I was done with that, when my body finished releasing all of those emotions, we were able to change it. So are you willing to get that close up and personal with the things that you know on some level are not working? Are you willing to receive what it is that you've created and you've been buying as a lie that's been stopping you, has been creating crazy in your life? Are you willing to get to that space to change it? Guys, It's kind of like in AA. You just have to admit it, right? You just have to be willing to say, I'm ready to change this. I'm ready to receive more of me. And this isn't about getting arrogant. This isn't about being cocky and saying, you know what, I'm all that in a bag of chips. It's not about that. This is about acknowledging what you are great at. This is about acknowledging and receiving your brilliance as well as your messed up spaces and places. Most people will only acknowledge and receive the crap. They won't actually receive the brilliance of who they be. So everyone in the chat room and everyone listening online, I want you to write down, I want you to acknowledge one thing that you are so brilliant at. I want you to receive that fully. But before you do that, I want you to drop your barriers way down, let them go, and expand way out. Be space while you receive what you are truly brilliant at. I'll tell you, I'm going to start. I'll tell you one of the things that I'm really brilliant at is getting vulnerable with my stuff. I have been so willing for some time now to get vulnerable with the places and spaces that are uncomfortable and hurt and don't work for me, that it is absolutely a gift to me, because that willingness and brilliance of that is changing everything for me. What are you brilliant at? I mean brilliant, not what can you do. What are you brilliant at? Would you be willing to ask? Sorry, I'm answering somebody. We're going to have somebody calling in just a second. Oh, she has called in. Okay, cool. So I really do want to hear from you what you are brilliant at. Carol says she's brilliant at sarcasm. Do you know what? She friggin' is brilliant at sarcasm. She cracks me up and is such a contribution with her sarcasm that it brings joy to my body. I friggin' love it. So don't ever stop being brilliant at sarcasm, Carol. Please keep choosing some of that. So I would love to hear more from the rest of you that are in the chat room. If people want to call in and tell me what they're brilliant at, I would love, love, love to hear that. What if we started really putting that out there big time, and we were willing to truthfully acknowledge what, and it can be something very simple. It can be something like, I am brilliant at organizing offices. I'm brilliant at it. I create so much ease in people's realities. Or I'm brilliant at cooking. Oh my gosh. I've got another one. All my girls are going to know what I'm going to say. I'm brilliant at making pies. I can make pies. Like, I could go downstairs right now. It's 8:45 at night. I could walk downstairs right now, and I could have, before 10 o'clock, I could have 10 pies made. I'm brilliant at it. I'm not going to do that, but I am brilliant at it. What are you brilliant at that you haven't been willing to receive, that if you would be willing to receive it, would create more of that available to you? Yeah, the more you acknowledge it, the more that is available for you to have if you choose it. Can you imagine if you said, I'm brilliant at creating money? What would that create in your reality? Maybe access to being more brilliant at creating money? How phenomenal would that be? Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, holy moly, how did this happen so fast? We're going to taking the caller that we've got on the line, and we're going to be reading some more of the comments in the chat room. Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. Stick around. We will be back right after this short commercial break.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The pleasure of business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business? Or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details or join the Facebook page Pleasure of Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736 or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around tonight. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this show tonight. It's just giving me so much more awareness as well. And the topic is, are you willing to receive you truly? And how many places and spaces are we not? Are we not acknowledging ourselves? Are we not willing to receive who we truly be? And we're always looking outside of us for that acknowledgement. When you start to be willing to get vulnerable with yourself and really, truly look at everywhere that you are being and choosing and being in allowance of all of it and receive all of it, that's where you begin to be at total choice. That's where you can really create your life. You can create your business. You can create your relationships when you are truly receiving all of you. And the beauty of it is, when you make a choice that maybe you would call a quote-unquote bad choice or it didn't create great, you're not at the effect of it because you're willing to receive all of you. You don't go into that heavy overload of judgment, which is one of the biggest gifts for me that I have gotten out of all of that. So I believe we have a caller on the line, and I think I know who it might be. Hello, caller. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, gorgeous. How are you?
Okay, everybody, this is
tonight.
There you go. This is none other than Rhonda Burns. You know, you just call. See, this is how I get them on the line. I just call them out, and then they're like, "Wait a second, wait a minute."
How did I get so freaking lucky? Amazing show tonight, by the way.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing the event. I just wanted to provide just a little bit of clarity in case people are curious. Yeah. Is that cool? Because I know you're on the last leg of the show here.
Yes, go ahead.
It's 21 days. It's a listen only. It's going to be 15 to 30 minutes. I'm going to call up all the barriers. I'm going to stir up barriers I'm going to show people how they show up, what they look like, what they feel like, how to remove them, how to notice where they are. I'm going to push buttons and poke bears. And then on the 22nd day, there's a 2-hour coaching call with me to go through anything that came up in the 21 days. So
cool.
I'm super stoked about it. Yeah. There's a free on the 25th. All this is on the information page. So free call on the 25th to get a feel for it. It's $100 right now until Friday. And then it goes up to $125, and then a week later it goes up to $150. So that's basically the gist of it.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for it. Like, seriously excited for it. You know, how many more spaces can we actually get into when we're dropping these barriers, and what we can truly change?
Yeah, what people don't really realize is that having barriers is like having one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. You don't go very far. You move, but you don't go very far very fast.
Yeah.
Once you come to the brakes and the barriers are gone, it's wide open, and creation and manifestation is off the charts. So that's all I'll say about
fabulous.
That. Thank you,
love.
I'll
tell you
so
something.
Grateful.
Oh, you're so welcome. Oh my God. Of course I had to give a shout out. And that's one of the things about the network that I love, and I'm going to give a little boost of what is really up in my world is, you know, I desire to create, and I am creating. I'm saying as if it's not already there. We've created the kingdom of we here on the Inspired Choices Network. And we do have each other's backs. And we are all in some capacity creating greater consciousness over the airwaves. And this is something that goes on a lot of radio shows. People will give shout outs to other people because we really do desire to create greater, and we're willing to acknowledge there's not the energy of competition at all. We're willing to acknowledge, oh my God, that's a great creation, and we know that by each and every one of us adding our brilliance to the pot, we're changing it all. So absolutely, Rhonda, so grateful you've come to this and that you're going to be doing this, and I can't wait to be there. I'm going to be there every day, girl. Absolutely.
Thank you. I look forward to whoever wants to come play. All right. Have a great night. Bye.
Okay, thanks, darling. Bye-bye. Okay, so well, there was one comment in the chat room with Faith. She said, I'm also really good at eating an entire box of Kraft dinner with pie and tarts for dessert. That's a referral to me. She wants to come and have pie and tarts anytime, Faith. You come and I'll work at making some for you. So tell me, after tonight's show, what's going to change for you? Are you going to step into really looking at where you're not willing to receive you? Are you going to look at spaces and places where you are receiving you so you can turn it up even more? What change can you create in your life that will create and be a massive contribution to the world when you choose to receive more of you? I'll tell you something that's going to occur as you receive more of you. Other people in the world are going to receive more of you. You're going to be seen more. You're going to be appreciated more. You're going to be acknowledged more. You might be asked out on more dates. People might call you up more often. You might have more play in your world. What would that be like for you? What is it that you desire that if you actually chose to receive more of you would create it so quickly it'd make your head spin? Guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. I had so much fun. I hope you did too. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to be a contribution to you. I love working one-on-one with individuals and changing what's not working. Please go over to my personal website, inspiredchoices.ca. You can email me, Christine at inspiredchoices.ca, or you can check me out on Facebook. I'm all over social media. Until we meet again, remember, you can always make another choice. Bye for now.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.